Biliyor musun? Erken rezervasyon başladı. Yazın en renkli fırsatları cyprusparadise.com'da. %40, %50 hatta %60'a varan kaçırılmaz indirimler. Erken rezervasyon yap, uçak bileti fiyatına paket tatili al. Uygun fiyata Kıbrıs tatilinin adresi cyprusparadise.com. Zaman akıp gitmeden acele edin. Bir bakmışsınız yaz gelmiş. Cyprus Paradise. Tatiliniz bizimle güvende.
Kalitenin, güvenin, hızlı teslimatın adresi Unemployed Furniture. Unemployed Furniture ailesi olarak yeni ürünler ile hizmete devam etmekteyiz. Yeni model koltuk takımlarımız, yatak mekanizmaları bir dokunuş ile açılıp bir dokunuş ile kapanabilmektedir. Bir dokunuş ile açtığımız yatak mekanizmasının yatak çarşafı kullanıma hazır, serili olarak içinden çıkmaktadır. Yıl sonuna kadar herhangi bir koltuk takımı alan her müşterimize akıllı sehpa hediyemizdir. En iyi ürün, en iyi fiyat. Sadece Unemployed Furniture'da. Bize uğramadan karar vermeyin. En iyisini biz yapana kadar daha iyisi yok.
Welcome to the latest printed press. I'm Aysen Djemal, and I'm very happy to be looking at the Kickstart scheme tonight. This is a scheme that is here for creating jobs for unemployed young individuals ages from 16 to 24. And I'm really happy to have Erim Metto, the CEO of the TCCA, and Sultan Ozkurtlar, Head of Operations from the TCCA, joining us tonight for our program. Welcome everybody. How are we feeling tonight?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Not too bad. Happy to be back in the studio at long last. It's lovely to be here. And it's lovely to have the both of you here telling us about this wonderful scheme. Erim, first of all, could you tell us a little bit about what the Kickstart scheme is all about?
So the Kickstart scheme was decided that it would occur and put forward as a government initiative in July of last year. The whole concept of the Kickstart is to allow young people the opportunity to work with an employer that would thereafter hopefully guarantee them of the concept would be that that if young people do have the skills and are equipped with the necessary vision and tasks they want to take on, then even if it's not possible for a role to continue within the organisation, the host organisation, then it may be possible that that they may be able to apply for other organisations which can actually help develop their skills. The initiative was initially planned that organisations would become gateway employers, and that would mean that you would have to take on more than 30 positions. And what that meant is some organisation would team up with others to become partnerships. That has now changed. That is not the case anymore. When we applied and when we got the funding agreed, we partnered with another 6 organisations, and TCCA will be taking on 15 of those roles, and the others will be taken on by other organisations quite well known to our community, groups like Edible London, Haringey Hub, Wigs for Heroes, and various others. And so today is only just to kind of platform what's happening, give our young people the opportunity to know how to apply for those roles, to know what type of roles are coming up, and for us to answer any questions that may be kind of bugging people and not sure about how to come on board whether it's right for them. It's an opportunity, and I think it's an opportunity that we should share with the community and our young people the opportunity to buy into organisations like TCCA and Wigs for Heroes and Edible London.
Yes, it's a fantastic scheme. I think very much needed in these times, especially for our young individuals out there. So I think it's great. Sultan, obviously you're head of operations. Can you tell us your role and involvement in this scheme?
Yeah, so I'm going to be managing Kickstart. So just making sure that everyone is checked on regularly, making sure the training is up to date. If there's any issues that are arising, making sure that that's all sorted. Obviously dealing with the other partners involved as well, because obviously they have different roles. Some of the roles that we are holding are obviously receptionist, lunching club, finance assistant, so things like that.
Brilliant. It all sounds really great. I mean, it's very well organised. Erim, can you tell us what is the eligibility for this? I mean, we've talked about the age, but is there any other specifics to do with applying for this scheme?
So with regards to the eligibility, it's down to what the government have told us, what they're prepared to allow people to buy into the scheme. The first eligibility criteria is the age. It has to be up between 16 to 24. We've in the past said it's under 25, but 25-year-olds have approached us, which means we're misguiding individuals. That's what group they'll fund. You have to be on universal credit. They're the two government eligibility criteria. In respect of us as an organisation, what we need to do is to ensure the person is fit for the role that they're applying for. So obviously, as with any job, there is a job description, a job specification, a job advert, and if that person's prerequisites fit what we require, and there's a balance between what we want and what they want from the role itself, then that is the remit that we work to. The whole aspect of it is that we do need to commit to the role itself. So we need to commit to minimum 25 hours a week. We need to commit to paying that person a minimum wage. We also get funding from the government for it, which will support the wage in full, and also some additional on costs, which will help us with the training that the person will have. The other aspect that we need to fulfill is that at the end of the project, at the end of the initiative for that person, we need to ensure that person is ready to go for employment roles. And as I said, we've got 15 roles that we're taking on at TCCA at the moment. That's going to increase for about another 6 to 7, because there is other jobs we've got in mind. And what that will do is that it will allow us to kind of test the waters with those roles. And we're hopeful that at least half those individuals which come onto the scheme, we will be able to take on as permanent officers at the end of the scheme. The other half, we're quite confident that we will be able to help support them to go into a role that takes on the skills which they've developed and the roles they want to move to in the future.
That's brilliant. I mean, I think we did cover this earlier, but we've got a lot more viewers coming on now. So I just want to repeat something. Sultan, could you tell us some of the roles that we're offering currently? Do we know?
Yeah. So at TCCA, we have weekday receptionist, evening receptionist, weekend receptionist, finance assistant, lunching, club assistant for the elderly when they come back. There's loads of other different roles that are going on with our partners. So obviously Eurogent, Football Federation, they've got different roles available. So get in contact with us. We can obviously let you know what we've got, and then we'll go from there.
I mean, I was going to ask you that, where to contact. How can young people actually contact you?
Yeah, I just want to pick up on something that Sultan's said as well. We're not only looking for at the moment employees, but in the future we'll be making additional bids for under the Kickstart scheme. And what that means is that we'll be looking for other charities, not-profit organisations which are like-minded to TCCA. If they do need support, I'm aware of a number of charities out there. If they are in need of support, if they need officer time or people to come on board to help them move into a different dimension in the support service they're giving, then please do speak to me or Sultan, and we can see if we can help you gain officers that will help you with the delivery of the services that you have as a charity. So it's not only us looking for employees for the charities that we're working with currently, we're also looking to develop other charities which weren't quite ready maybe 6 months ago to come onto the scheme, but maybe ready now, or maybe even considering in about 2 to 3 months' time taking on officers.
That's brilliant. That's excellent. And we were talking with Sultan. If I quickly just refer to that, and then I'll go back to you, Erim, and we can talk about where people can apply. Sultan, we were talking backstage, weren't we, that we're going to be doing more programs about this as the scheme develops. Like, what ideas do you have for that?
Yeah, so coming on, obviously, Eurogenge, to talk about it a little bit more. Obviously, social media, a lot of things will be going on our Facebook page. So if you keep having a look, you'll see as it progresses, we'll be sharing a lot of things with you. And then obviously word of mouth as well. People talking to each other, friends, family, anyone that obviously wants to join the scheme. Of course, if they just go through the right dimensions, then yeah, we'll work with them.
Yeah, that's
I think the other thing is individuals, especially during this period of time of COVID and lack of jobs and another 5 million people coming off furlough in the next few months, that it provides a perfect opportunity for individuals to kind of receive training in possibly a different area that they were considering, and outside of that to have an abundance of the availability training courses that TCCA has available to itself, and also to look at riding this time to then move forward in the future to a long-term post that will hopefully come back after 6 months. And the other thing is that because we are a charity, we're not profit driven. We're based on the humanitarian needs of our community and other communities that are out there. So the work is focused on helping people rather than trying to see the best way we can get their money, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. I mean, I was going to actually say it, Erim, and you sort of touched upon the points. Why is this so important? Why is it that the TCCA decided to be involved in this project? What are the reasons behind it? And I think you've covered a lot of those points of the time and what are the sort of the ideas behind the project? How did it all come together?
I mean, the fact was that as with most organisations, COVID hit TCCA quite hard. And that incorporates everything from the availability of space to deliver services right way through to the financial income that it gains to be able to provide those services. Now, we was considering lots of initiatives that we wanted to deliver, including the COVID support project, but there was other projects that we wanted to look at, which was to support our youth in being able to ride this time of problems in gaining employment, problems with mental health. So regards to the employment, we felt that this was an opportunity for the organisation, and by some creative thinking around how do we allow us to be able to support 30 plus jobs, allowed us to put together a portfolio of organisations that were very strong organisations, growing organisations, and the ones that we as a community have relied upon during COVID. So that was the initial thought pattern. We was agreed in November, December. Thereafter, we had to go through slight palaver around what jobs were agreed and getting the job descriptions ready for them and looking at the dimensions of how we deliver those projects and what support we provide. Once that had occurred, about 3 weeks ago, we started to go out to the job centres, because what happens is once it's agreed by the Department of Work and Pensions, then the job centre is notified, and the job centres then start to promote your projects and your work and what the roles are. We felt that it was important that we allowed our community to know about the jobs themselves by using the platforms that our community accesses, and platforms like Eurogenge, Kubras Worldwide, TCC UK, Kubras Unite were all platforms that we want to share this message with. And obviously, if there is people who want to buy into the TCCA family, then we're there. We want to take on people who can work with us in being able to support our community.
Yes, definitely. And there is quite a long process. I mean, obviously, when young people and some of these, I mean, because the age bracket there is from 16 to 24, perhaps a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old would have gone through this process before and they'll come with some experience. But obviously, a 16-year-old is fresh out of school. And obviously, during these COVID times, it's been very unsettled. So it's great that, you know, you're going to be sort of going through the whole process, because from what I'm looking here, from the advert, it says to apply for the roles, the process, and everything that you're going to be guiding them through. Is this going to be hands-on at the TCCA, or can they do it online? How will the process start?
Aysen, it's like with any other job. So it depends on what is required within the job itself. Now, if we look at a receptionist, the receptionist will need to be based at the office at a particular time. They start a time, they close at a time. They work 25 hours a week. If the role allows it, then its flexi time is incorporated. That they get paid at the same time as other staff. Their NI contribution is paid for. All pensions commitments are paid for. All the training is paid for. They treat like any other officer. If the person is off sick, if they're allowed sickness, then sick pay is paid. They're allowed annual leave. So like any other officer that works for an organisation like myself, like Sultan, and all the other officers that work at TCCA, they'll be treated in exactly the same way. Now, the rate of pay is governed by the government's guidelines, which is the minimum rate of pay. But what we do is we do get a £1,500 package to go with each person. So 1,500 will pay for certain training requirements, certain needs they might have to support them in their development. And after 6 months, like I said, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to take them on as full-time employees. And I'll give you one example by how we intend to do that. With reception, financing for paying for reception comes from room bookings. Because room bookings hasn't been able to generate any funding, we are unable to support those roles. However, because we are now advertising to reopen from the 17th of May for room bookings, that after the 17th of May, money will be generated. Now, once that money is generated, then after 6 months, that money can be given to a staff member, and a role will be created for that staff member post 6 months. So that's one example of how we feel that we're able to support those roles 6 months plus, I would say.
Yes, that's brilliant. I mean, Sultan, like you were saying, obviously, it's going to be sort of on Facebook, social media, but obviously, can people directly contact you? How will that work?
Yeah, we have had people already directly contact us, and then we're just going through the same process. Obviously, we will invite them to an interview, and then they'll go through a second interview as well with some of our trustees. And then we'll go on from there. So we are starting to receive CVs from the job centre right now, and individuals, and we have started the interview process this week.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean,
okay.
what I was going to say, Aysen, was that it's not relying upon an individual contacting the job centre. If a person sees a job that we advertise and wants to have an interview, then they would contact us directly. We would then interview, depending on the role. So if it was a receptionist, it would probably me and Sultan that would interview for the role. Thereafter, we would give a job code for that individual if we want that person to start with us. They would then take it to their job coach at the job centre. Then they would be inputted into the system, and we'll receive an official email from the job centre saying that this person has expressed interest, they fulfil the criteria. If you do wish to take them on, then please let us know.
That's brilliant. I mean, to be honest with you, that's support throughout the whole process. And it looks as if it's already started. It's kick-started already, the Kickstart scheme.
Yeah.
There you go. Which is great. So obviously things are starting to move. Erim, please, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that currently we have 5 individuals which will be going on to second interviews next week. Second interviews are just a rubber stamping exercise, because the way we work as TCCA is that obviously we are officers of the organisation, but the overall responsibility of the activities of the organisation fall upon trustees. So trustees will normally rubber stamp any major employment issues that we have coming up. So they'll have 2 trustees there present next week, which will just go over the role and just verify what we've agreed to and what we want to do. And once that happens, then within 2 weeks, hopefully the individual will start. Within that 2 weeks, what we will do is we'll go over the references, and we'll also do a DBS check on the individual who's starting with us, and do some pre-start training with the individual who is starting with us.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. We've got lots of comments that have just come through to me. Naima has put amazing opportunities. Bayram, this is what our community needs. TCCA never fails to step up to the plate, and together we are stronger, most definitely. And Naima said, well said. Bayram said, giving the youth opportunities is very important. Can't get any better than that. Well done, Mr. Metto and Sultan Hala. Hassan Osman, who supports us from Cyprus Worldwide, has put brilliant opportunities for the young ones, and I'm sure they will be supporting us with all of these endeavours. Melly has put fantastic opportunities. Aisha Ismail, this is an amazing opportunity. Well done to all involved. And Jansev has put really great initiative. Please tell young people you know who fit the criteria to get in touch and apply. I mean, I suppose, like you said, it is up to the young people to go to the job centres to apply, to look at the adverts. But of course, they can contact both of you directly.
I mean, the thing is, Aysen, as well, is that the job centres nearest the centre are the ones normally contacted. So I'll give you one example where that's kind of failed to reach our community. One of our members of our community saw a job, heard about a job in Braintree. They fit the bill of what we want to do and what they want to give us as an office of the organisation. They wouldn't have seen the jobs advertised in the Braintree Job Centre, but because of word of mouth, they heard about the job. They're going to be one of the 5 people that we're going to be interviewing next week, Tuesday. And obviously, if they get the job, then they'll start with us. But that's one way that we would be directly contacting individuals, is helpfully people who watch this programme, people who know about TCCA's initiative, will tell the individuals that they know that may benefit from being able to work for TCCA.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. Fullia's a great initiative, as young people up to the age of 25 years have been hardest hit by the pandemic. That's very true. This project provides them with an opportunity to get sustainable work in the future, especially for young people in our community. Well done, Erim, TCCA and Sultan. That's brilliant. I mean, I think what people need to do is share our program and, you know, put the word out there, like Erim and Sultan was saying. Ertan Chabi has put innovation and TCCA go hand in hand. I mean, that is so true. In all of my experience over the last couple of years, doing all the COVID programs and working in collaboration with the TCCA, I have noticed that you've got your finger on the pulse, really, with what is needed next for our community. I mean, Sultan, you've been an employer of the TCCA now. I mean, what's your take on how you feel about working for this organisation?
Oh, words can't explain, to be honest. I started 2 years ago as operations admin. I'm now head of operations, so the operations manager within a couple of years, and obviously the manager of the COVID project. But I can't express how much I love working there. It's like a family, you know. It's not just go to work, come home. It's, you know, it's like going to your family. You're around these people every day. They do become your family, but it's just the feeling of being there. Like you know as well, Aysen, you know.
Yes, definitely. And you're not just an employee, you actually volunteer as well. I mean, there are things,
absolutely,
because it's a charity organisation, obviously you're volunteering as well a lot of your time. So, but yeah. I think that's the atmosphere that's created. I think because it is such a family orientated atmosphere, it encourages people to volunteer as well. And I think you've given a lot of your volunteering time to Sultan. We've got to mention that. Yes,
I think that's an important thing to mention, because a lot of the people that do work for TCCA do volunteer, not just for us but for other organisations. I mean, a lot of some of the staff that we have, some of the volunteers also manage other initiatives which help the community, like the amazing work that the Turkish Football Women's Committee is doing around trying to help the community and trying to develop equitable access to football and making now women to feel that they can be part of all segments of our community. I think that's just another perfect example of how people through this group have come together to deal with another issue that exists within our community, and maybe in years to come, the things we have as issues will become the norm. So there won't be issues anymore, just because of the pioneers and the heroes we have who today are stepping up to ensure that those issues are being dealt with.
Yes, it's a great initiative. Fatima Mehmet's great initiative. And with this scheme, it's not just open for Turkish Cypriots, it's open to anybody between those ages, right? Shall we make that clear as well?
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking quite a lot, so I'll let Sultan speak in a minute. But I was going to say that with one of the roles, for example, we've had an amazing person who's applied to be an accounts assistant who's applied to be a finance assistant. He's half Syrian, half Moroccan, but his acumen with numbers is totally amazing. And normally, if you wanted to buy in an officer of that standard, you'd be paying top bucks. But we'd be graced with, hopefully, if you pass the second interview, we'd be graced with a high caliber individual, which would help benefit our financial systems. And another one is a weekend caretaker, or shall I say weekend receptionist. This person is not Turkish speaking, but as a person who's going to be working the weekend, the ability to speak the language is not so important. However, the ability to be able to communicate with people who access the office, who want to know where things are, want to know what the rules are, is amazing. So, no, you don't have to be Turkish as long as the role fits the abilities. Some of the roles you do need to be able to speak Turkish.
Yes, depending on the role, most definitely. Any lasting words, Sultan? Because we're going to be closing the program real soon. We've got about 3 to 4 minutes left. Anything else you'd like to say?
Just to say that if anyone wants to obviously get involved, contact us. If you know anyone that maybe interested, got an email address, you've got contact details for us. Get involved. It's an amazing opportunity. So yeah, get in contact.
Yeah, fantastic. And Erim, any lasting messages you'd like? We've had a lot of viewers, lots of comments, everyone in full support of the scheme.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, all it is that today's program is meant to keep people informed around the initiative, because sometimes people don't see what's out there. Sometimes people don't look at their local job centres. Sometimes the job centres where they're based doesn't deal with the area that we're based in. So this is meant to be an awareness, program, and hopefully we're going to be pushing out far more information around the jobs that we want to fill. And if someone just wants a basic chat about the roles, then there's no harm in contacting myself, Sultan, or another office in the organisation, and we'd be more than happy to discuss the roles or discuss how those roles can fit into the lifestyle or the life that a person has. If it doesn't fit quite right, we can move things around and make their life easier and help us as an organisation to develop more amazing projects.
Brilliant. I look forward to hearing about it again soon once we've gone through the process. But as usual, TCCA, well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming onto my program tonight and telling us about this great scheme. Thank you very much to all our viewers and all your comments. That's it from us from Eurogenç TV. Have a good evening. Good night.
Biliyor musun? Erken rezervasyon başladı. Yazın en renkli fırsatları cyprusparadise.com'da. %40, %50 hatta %60'a varan kaçırılmaz indirimler. Erken rezervasyon yap, uçak bileti fiyatına paket tatili al. Uygun fiyata Kıbrıs tatilinin adresi cyprusparadise.com. Zaman akıp gitmeden acele edin. Bir bakmışsınız yaz gelmiş. Cyprus Paradise. Tatiliniz bizimle güvende.
Kalitenin, güvenin, hızlı teslimatın adresi Ancon Furniture. Ancon Furniture ailesi olarak yeni ürünler ile hizmete devam etmekteyiz. Yeni model koltuk takımlarımız, yatak mekanizmaları bir dokunuş ile açılıp bir dokunuş ile kapanabilmektedir. Bir dokunuş ile açtığımız yatak mekanizmasının yatak çarşafı kullanıma hazır serili olarak içinden çıkmaktadır. Yıl sonuna kadar herhangi bir koltuk takımı alan her müşterimize akıllı sehpa hediyemizdir. En iyi ürün, en iyi fiyat. Sadece Unemployed Furniture'da. Bize uğramadan karar vermeyin. En iyisini biz yapana kadar daha iyisi yok.